Here we are, Glenn, at SNEC in China, and to paraphrase my daughter, my teenage daughter, OMG.
OMG indeed.
It is next level.
It's the OG of conferences.
Isn't it? It is just incredible. The sheer scale is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Comparative to All Energy. It's...
Any one of these pavilions is bigger than All Energy, and then there's
34 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I counted on the registrations 2,600 plus booths.
Wow, it's unbelievable. I mean, even just the scope of the Sofar stand, we have 72 square meters at All Energy. This is 600 square meters.
Let me just show the audience. We'll turn around.
Yeah, we'll do a dance.
Check this out. This is Sofar. This is a little bit of their booth, right?
Yeah. We have a giant IMAX screen behind us, and meeting rooms all along the side here, and our products are all on display around the outside of the stand. Plenty of meeting area in the middle here, and of course, if you want, you can get an ice cream when we're finished. A Sofar Man ice cream. I've had a couple; they're pretty good.
Well, let's go and check out some of the product here. The first thing that caught my eye was the Sofar big battery.
Yeah, our new utility ESS. So it was officially launched here yesterday. It's the first time people have seen it. Not coming to Australia anytime soon. We don't have the capability right now to do that in the team, but I guess for the right project we could, but it's not earmarked at this point. They're launching it here in China. We'll start to see some other projects in India and Europe rolled out with it, and then as the ability in Australian team comes on board, then we'll be able to move into that sort of scale.
I guess it shows the breadth of Sofar. It's not just your hybrid domestic power all, it's right through to utility scale.
Absolutely. We do everything from 1 kilowatt up to 300 in inverters, and now we're talking massive utility scale battery solutions. So
now I saw a big inverter on the other side of that stand there. Should we have a look at it?
Let's go and have a look at that. Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Whoa, what are we looking at here?
So this is the PCS for the battery.
For the big battery, this is the big PCS.
Battery. That's the big PCS for the battery, yeah.
Wow, what power rating is that? Big. Okay.
I don't know. I'm trying to focus on what we're going to sell at home.
Fair enough. All right, so now we're standing on something quite big too.
Yeah, so this is our new G4 range of inverter. This is a 320 kilowatt G4 range.
320?
320 kilowatt, yeah, it's our brand new one. So the new G4 range has got some pretty interesting features. Our new, not specifically for the Australian market, we're going to have this range, our 99.9 kilowatt and 125 kilowatt, both of which will be a grid tie and a hybrid version. So we actually have a CNI storage coming for those inverters.
100 kilowatt hybrid, or 99.9?
99.9 for the STC market, and 125 for the LGC. That 125 will have an additional PCS that you can plug into it as a hybrid inverter. And we have a CNI stackable battery rack, which is a rack mount system, 50 kilowatt hours per stack, and you can parallel 4 of them. And then of course you can parallel multiple inverters. So you can build you could have 125 kilowatt system with up to 200 kilowatt hours of invert, DC coupled, so we can also take advantage of the oversizing capability.
That means you can enter the sub 5 megawatt solar farm market with storage, without compromising on AC capacity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So we're opening up a whole bunch of new doors for the Australian market that so far traditionally haven't played in, and that's purely only not because we haven't had the product, but because we haven't had the manpower. Now we've got the manpower.
Yeah. I haven't seen the power all here. Is it here?
Yeah,
as well?
It's around the other side.
Let's go and check it out.
Yeah.
片上，它是 SNEC。
Well, that's the Powerwall there. This is Freddie. Glenn, this is Freddie that you've been talking to.
Oh,
this
Freddie.
is Glenn Morris.
Good to meet you.
Yeah.
This is Freddie, tech support.
Tech
Sofar in Australia.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Good to meet you. Good to put a face to a name.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow, this is popular, this stand. It's hard to get near it.
Yeah, it is opening some eyes for sure.
So we're standing just, we'll probably step up and get a closer if we can.
Yeah, let's get over here a bit. Yep. You can see a side profile. So this is the Powerwall that we've seen back in Australia. Same solution, but obviously we're now opening it up bigger to the world. 15 kilowatt hours of battery, expandable up to 30 kilowatt hours, so you can have another rack of those 3 batteries right next to it. 5 and 6 kilowatt inverter, full EPS, full black start capability. The unique advantage of this product over most other products is each one of these batteries has a PCS built into it, which means that every battery, think of it like an optimizer.
Yes.
Every battery is doing its own thing. So the beauty of that is twofold. One is if one of those batteries were to fail, 10-year warranty. If one of the batteries fails, you don't lose the whole system, you only lose that one battery. So if you've got 15 kilowatt hours and one of those batteries dies, you're still able to draw on the 10 kilowatt hours left over. The second part of that is that we can RMA that at any point in the future.
I don't think people realise that the fact that generally when you get a parallel battery system, they all have to age together.
Correct.
Because there is no individual PCS at a battery level.
Correct. So this is something that's a very unique feature for us, and it works exceptionally well. It also allows for expandability, which for the same reason you can't do with most other batteries, because you have to have the same state of charge. We can put one battery in today, another one in 6 months, another one in 2 years. It doesn't matter. You can bolt onto that system at any point in time, and of course you can replace them at any point in time. So it's a really good feature, and it's an amazing price point for the Australian market for people to get into the battery market.
So this would be great as for a new build site. Basically, you've got solar, you've got batteries, but what about AC coupling?
You can AC couple this to an existing solution. Depending on the age of that inverter, you might want to think about just replacing it and only having that in your garage. It is IP65, so it can stay outside. And this is exactly how it looks. You don't see any cables. Well, you've installed one, right? It's all rear entry mounted, so you don't see any messy cables. There's no additional gateway boxes. Everything is exactly what you see there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a bit of a flush of people swapping out their old inverters in Victoria because all the feed-in tariffs will have finished.
Correct.
No one's hanging on to that 60 cents next year. It's gone.
Exactly. So this is a great time for us to have this product.
Yep.
It's a great time for people to look at the next evolution of their solar system at home.
Yep.
And to say, well, that 60 cents has served me well, but I've probably only got a 2 or 3 kilowatt system. It isn't big enough. When I go back to zero feed-in or 15 cents, it's not going to do it. We've moved a long way since then. Obviously, 1 in 5 systems in Australia has a battery attached.
Wow.
According to the Sunwoods data.
Wow.
So it's pretty impressive. People are starting to realise that energy security, ROI is not as important as energy security for a lot of people.
Yep.
But the ROI is coming down on these. This is a very affordable system comparative to other things in the market, and when people do the numbers, they can see it and understand maybe it's worth spending a few extra bucks and I can still pay it back in 3 years.
This unit here, is this AC coupled?
No, so this is our 3-phase hybrid solution.
It's the 3-phase one.
Yeah, so a couple of unique things with that also is we use exactly the same batteries.
Yep.
So the BTS battery is the same on the all-in-one as it is for 3-phase.
Yes.
The only difference is with 3-phase, we still have a separate hybrid inverter, and then you have the BDU on top to control the batteries.
Right.
So you have the same expandability and flexibility with the batteries. It's just that you have a separate inverter. We go up to 20 kilowatts in 3-phase. So we have 5, 8, 10, 15, and 20. So you can parallel those systems as well.
Right.
Up to 4 batteries per inverter. So 20 kilowatt hours is your cap for a 3-phase inverter. But if you need bigger, then you can parallel multiple inverters.
Wow, I can just see how popular this is.
Yeah, it's
I don't know if you can see everyone, but it's kind of like feeding time here.
Yeah, and again with this we have 3-phase backup. We have EPS.
So it's built in.
All built in.
Right,
Yep.
so you've got UPS built in, no external box.
Not UPS, EPS.
EPS.
Yeah, so emergency power, and the EPS is the output of the EPS is the current rating, the output rating of the inverter.
Yep.
Same as the the power wall. So if you have a 5 kilowatt inverter in a grid outage, you have 5 kilowatt of throughput. Obviously, you're limited to how much storage you've got attached to that as to how long that's going to last.
Yep.
If you have a 20 kilowatt inverter, you have 20 kilowatt hours of capable throughput of backup. You obviously, if you only have 10 kilowatt hours of battery, that's not going to last very long.
Can I ask the real dumb question? What's the difference between EPS and UPS?
It's a good question, and it's something that people really need to understand. UPS is unlimited uninterrupted power supply, and EPS is emergency power supply. The difference is, a UPS, you won't notice the difference. So the people who need a UPS are people who have data servers, life support machines, anything that cannot go without power for an instant needs a UPS. So if you're planning to put a battery system on your home and you have a transplant machine, a medical device that requires constant power, uninterrupted, or you have big servers, if you're an IT, work from home IT guy, this system will work for you, but you need those devices plugged into its separate UPS because you will notice a blackout. So there is it's very fast, it's less than 10 milliseconds, but that will turn off a machine, that will turn off a server, and that data is lost. So really important to understand the difference for homeowners or business owners. Understand what you're trying to power, understand what your requirements are. If you absolutely have to have surety of power 24/7, you can buy a separate UPS system, plug that device into it, and this will run everything else.
I learned that embarrassingly myself when I sold my first backup system to a customer, and it was actually EPS, and I thought it was much the same as UPS. And when I asked him what he wanted it for, he said, "Oh, so my hard disk recorder won't reboot, and I have to reprogram it." And I go, oops.
Yeah, my bad.
My bad. Yep.
Yeah, it's a trap for people who are getting into the battery market to really understand. It's like blackout. It's like black start. Not every battery system is the same.
Maybe we should explain black start.
Absolutely, because again, this is an expectation, I think, of many people. The expectation of a homeowner, the average homeowner, is I've got a battery on my solar system. If the grid goes out, well, I've still got power. And for most, pretty much all battery systems, that is correct, but only if it has backup capability. Now, black start is one step further. I live in Queensland. Summer storms are pretty natural. Disasters are natural. Let's say that we have an extended outage for 2 or 3 days. Your battery only lasts as long as the kilowatt hours of storage that you've got. So if your battery, let's say the storm comes through in Brisbane on 4 o'clock in the afternoon, bang, knocks the powers out, maybe it knocks the power lines out down the street, and you're running from your battery overnight. If that battery depletes in a normal system, the next day there's still no grid power, you've still got no power because the batteries can't be recharged. Black start allows the inverter to reconnect, and the DC will then start powering the EPS load and charge the battery.
Right, so with black start, the solar can directly charge the battery, it doesn't need the grid, and so you can recover as soon as the sun comes back.
Correct.
Yeah.
So even though you might deplete the batteries overnight, they're not fully depleted.
Yeah.
There's a reserve in them, and they will then kick back in the next day. As long as the sun comes up the next day, if it's a dark, stormy, crappy day, you might have some problems. But normally it doesn't. Normally the sun comes back out the next day, and it will run your property.
Every day's a sunny day in Queensland.
Beautiful one day, perfect the next. Again, really important to understand where you live and how much of a concern that is. When you move into the remote areas or regional areas of Queensland, that's actually a big concern. And when I say regional areas, it's not that far out of Brisbane or the southeast Queensland corner that these things are paramount. So, up around Central Coast, Rockhampton, Gladstone, Airlie Beach, those areas where those cyclones come through, when it's really there for an extended outage. Think of it like running off-grid, because effectively it is off-grid, but it's not an off-grid inverter. I want to just be very clear about that. It's an on-grid inverter with the capability of running technically indefinitely without the grid, but it needs to have the grid point at some point.
Yeah. As you know, I've got one on my house, and I'm sort of like, I'm going to run off a microgrid.
Yeah.
It's not off-grid, But we do sometimes have problems with the microgrid. The power goes off at night time, and it's good to have that backup on the Sofar.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, it's not an unrealistic expectation from a homeowner, but the reality is a lot of battery solutions don't offer black start.
Yeah.
So it's really important for homeowners to ask that question and understand, what am I getting? What does this do? Do I need backup? The answer is yes. Why would you have a battery otherwise, really?
Yeah.
Maybe you only have one grid outage in 2 years, but let me tell you, that one time you need it, you wish you paid for it.
Yeah.
And black start similarly, you might never use it, but it's nice to know that you've got that security there if you need it.
Certainly with more extreme weather events happening all the time, as we know, that it's more likely to be an issue.
Absolutely, and what it does is it just means that your fridge isn't going to go off.
Yeah.
The beer's going to stay cold, importantly. You've got power to the TV to shut the kids up. You can charge your phone to understand weather reports and stuff. So it's the basics that we take for granted, having electricity, turn the light switch on and it works, all right? But when that all doesn't work, that becomes a bit of a problem for some people.
And if you've got the 20 kilowatt three-phase, you could charge your Model Y.
Well, watch this space for the EV solution.
Yeah, really?
Watch this space.
Okay.
Let's face it, you know, the whole ecosystem of having panels on your roof, an inverter to control it, batteries attached to it for, you know, backup and everything else that we've talked about. Everyone's starting to move towards EVs, and certainly will over the next 5 to 10 years. We need to be able to charge those as well. And of course, the long game is that EV will become your home battery. But I think in Australia, we're quite away from that.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing here in Shanghai, where all the green number plates are electric cars.
And the reality, pretty much all of the taxis are electric vehicles.
Yeah.
I was talking to one of my colleagues, Chinese colleagues, and he said to me, pretty much every taxi now in the country is an electric vehicle. And there are so many makes, models, shapes, sizes. It's a real eye-opener in that market to understand just how behind Australia is in the EV market. I mean, I've got one. I have a Model Y. I think you've just got your Tesla recently as well. And the reason I have a Tesla is, and I love it, but the options were very scarce. And I've only had it since October last year.
Yeah.
You come over here and there are literally hundreds of different brands.
I don't feel special anymore having a Tesla. Come here and everyone's got them. They're the Holden Commodore of China.
Yeah, absolutely. But so many other brands. And they're just fantastic. The tech in them is amazing.
I learned today that to get a number plate in Shanghai costs as much as a car, unless it's an electric.
Is that right?
And then it's free.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so it's a real big sales pitch. Is basically a much cheaper car and it's electric. Yeah, and no pollution.
So, Australian government, you could learn a few things.
Well, Dave, it's been great talking to you.
Great to catch up, Len. Thank you, mate.
All right.
Cheers.
See ya.